4.
From New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Jessica Savage.
Good evening. More trouble for President Carter tonight over Billy Carter's ties to Libya. The White House said it intends to disclose all of the details by the end of the week, but the explanations are apparently too slow in coming for Senate Majority Leader Robert Byrd. Byrd is quoted today as calling for the president to tell the truth. If there are delays, according to Byrd, it is going to be damaging. It shouldn't have to be extracted, his words, tooth by tooth. Well, this afternoon, the White House conceded it was having difficulty getting the full explanation of Billy Carter's role in freeing the hostages. White House correspondent Bill Lynch picks up the story from here.
The White House said today there are still too many ambiguities to be cleared up before it can say for sure who first suggested asking Billy Carter to use his Libyan contacts to help resolve the Iran hostage crisis. The Washington Post today quoted informed sources as saying that President Carter himself was the most likely source for the idea, while Press Secretary Jody Powell characterized that report by saying, "I'm not going to discuss hypotheses." He did not rule out Mr. Carter as the first one to suggest contacting his brother. Powell said that question is still under study. The source of the suggestion to use Billy Carter is relevant because of questions raised about the wisdom of having presidential relatives take on such assignments. Powell today defended the president's use of family members in international diplomacy. In some societies, family relationships are important, he said, and sending relatives as emissaries can be effective. At the same time, the spokesman tried to minimize the importance of the November 27th White House meeting when Billy Carter brought Libyan envoy Ali Huderi to see National Security Advisor Brzezinski about the hostage situation. That was a rather small event, Powell said, and of relatively less importance than a number of other things that were going on at the time. Also today, Powell pledged White House cooperation in answering questions about the Billy Carter affair contained in a House resolution that has not yet been voted on by the Judiciary and Foreign Affairs committees. That quick response to the House committees was in line with a White House strategy of avoiding any appearance of stonewalling or holding back information. The main figure in all this was back home in Georgia today, talking with friends and some reporters. But he was not so talkative when asked if he thinks he's become an embarrassment to his brother.
I'm not even going to answer that. Okay.
The White House today charged Senator Kennedy with trying to exploit Mr. Carter's problems over the Billy Carter affair. Spokesman Powell described moves by some Democrats for an open convention as a Kennedy-inspired effort to take advantage of the difficulties the president now faces. He told reporters not to interpret recent moves as a general erosion of support for the president, and he predicted Mr. Carter would win easily, even with an open convention. Bill Lynch, NBC News, the White House.
There were calls for Attorney General Benjamin Civiletti to resign today from Americans for Democratic Action and from Senator Robert Dole, a member of the panel investigating the Billy Carter case. After denying for 2 weeks that he ever talked about the case with the president, Civiletti disclosed he did just that last month. The White House this afternoon said Civiletti had not offered to resign. And as Bill Lynch reported earlier, this Billy Carter case is having political implications for the president. We'll have details on that when we return.
How old am I? You can't tell from my hands. See, no unattractive age spots to give me away because of Esoterica medicated cream. Esoterica works below the skin surface to help safely fade brown spots that appear as we grow older. If you use it every day as directed, in 6 weeks your skin can be clearer and younger looking. Look at your own hands right now. Try Esoterica for skin that says beautiful things.
Copier companies have been introducing small copiers with a very interesting claim.
It's just as good as a Xerox.
It's just as good as a Xerox.
Then one day...
This compact copier is very versatile. It even copies on your own letterhead. It's inexpensive, but best of all...
I know, it's just as good as a Xerox.
It is a Xerox.
The Xerox 2600, the compact copier that really is just as good as a Xerox.
In the wake of the Billy Carter controversy, many Democrats are calling for an open convention. That means the delegates could vote for whichever candidates they wish. The Democrats are concerned that this whole matter may lead to a defeat for President Carter and for them as well. Rebecca Sobel reports.
Sources say some major Democrats have now been converted to the idea that President Carter cannot win an election and that a free and open convention is the only hope for a Democratic victory in November. Some of those converts include Senators Alan Cranston of California, Frank Church of Idaho, Gary Hart of Colorado, Birch Bayh of Indiana, and George McGovern of South Dakota. None of those senators were available for comment, but they're all running for re-election, and they're all being strongly challenged by Republican opponents. One senator who did confirm his preference for an open convention is Senator Henry Jackson.
I strongly support a free and open convention. I believe it will strengthen the Democratic Party rather than weaken it.
Jackson's name is also being mentioned as a possible candidate, as are the names of Vice President Mondale and Secretary of State Muskie. And prominent attorney Edward Bennett Williams today admitted he had dinner last Thursday night with Muskie. Williams, though, refused to say whether he discussed a Muskie presidential candidacy. But it is known that Williams and several other prominent Democrats have been trying to find a substitute candidate for the convention. A recent Harris poll indicates the Republicans might not only win the White House next November, they might also win the House and Senate. Democratic senators here say an open convention could only help the party. They say it would either result in a stronger presidential candidate, or if Carter wins in an open convention, it would unite the party behind him. Rebecca Sobel, NBC News on Capitol Hill.
Amid all of this talk about an open Democratic convention, a top official with the Kennedy campaign today said if the president cannot push through a convention rule requiring his delegates to vote for him on the first ballot, Mr. Carter won't be nominated. However, as Bob Kerr reports, the Kennedy people aren't sure Kennedy could get the nomination either.
It was a good show at their Cape Cod home as the Kennedys entertained about 25 of the Senators' convention delegation chairmen. But behind the scenes, aides reacted with concern to reports that top union officials were considering efforts to dump both President Carter and Senator Kennedy. Earlier, at a strategy session, there was talk of edginess among some Democratic senators and congressmen about President Carter or Kennedy leading the ticket. But Kennedy's top spokesman here said he believes the senator is benefiting by any movement away from Mr. Carter, though another Kennedy aide admits it's too soon to tell. There did not seem to be any slippage among Kennedy's New England delegates at a rally this afternoon when Congresswoman Barbara Mikulski mentioned rumors about alternative candidates.
And when I left Washington yesterday, there was all kinds of buzz and letters and scoops and meetings and so on about a third alternative for the Democratic Party. And
Kennedy wants an open convention and says he trusts the judgment of the delegates.
And I cannot help but believe that the legitimacy of our cause and the righteousness of our cause will not prevail with your help and your assistance. And let's go out and get the job done. Let's go back.
But back in Washington this week, Kennedy staffers began polling Carter delegates to gauge their interest in Jackson, Mondale, and Muskie. Not promoting, said a top aide, just asking. Kennedy aides believe the Billy Carter case will help convince the convention that Jimmy Carter would lead the party to defeat in November. But for Kennedy's people, the toughest job remains convincing the convention that Senator Kennedy would be more electable. Bob Kerr, NBC News, with the Kennedy campaign in Hyannisport.
Ronald Reagan and George Bush have little to do right now but watch the Democrats fight it out. Both men are taking the weekend off while the aides plan strategies for the Republican campaign. Dan Blackburn reports from Los Angeles.
Billy Carter's current problems will not be a campaign issue for Ronald Reagan and George Bush, at least not right away. The Reagan-Bush team plans to watch the Senate investigation run its course while the Democrats stew. Meanwhile, their top aides are charting the tactical direction of the fall campaign. Richard Worthlin, Reagan's political strategist, says some aspects already are clear.
An incumbent president has to run on his record. And if that is the case, and if we can keep the American voters' attention in that area, we will beat Jimmy Carter in the fall.
Carter is the issue.
Carter is the issue.
If Jimmy Carter is the issue, then strategist Worthlin sees the vote-rich industrial Northeast as the target of opportunity.
It is true that many of the northeastern states, Dan, that have classically been Democratic states, we view as good targets. The old Democratic coalitions of the big city, union, blue-collar, minority voters is very soft for Carter, and we're very much aligned to take advantage of the collapse of that coalition.
Is George Bush going to be the counterpuncher in this?
He will, on occasion, take on the Carter administration very heavily when the circumstances indicate that that's justified.
One point made not only by Wirthlin, but by Reagan and Bush as well, is the danger of overconfidence. They do believe they will win in November, but they do not believe it will be easy. Dan Blackburn, NBC News, Los Angeles.
And according to a report today from United Press International, the Reagan-Ford ticket didn't work out because of the veto power Ford wanted over the defense secretary and the national security advisor. He also reportedly asked that Henry Kissinger be made Secretary of State. UPI quotes high-level Reagan sources as saying it was former Treasury Secretary William Simon who delivered an angry 11th-hour plea to Reagan to drop the Ford deal.
Andy McAdams, he came home.
Yeah, I just traded a Honda for my Chevy Citation. It's got power everything and all the spunk I need. It's everything I ever wanted in a car.
Not only did Andy McAdams come home, but in the last calendar year, more people have traded their foreign cars for Chevrolet than any car, foreign or domestic.
Come on home to Chevrolet, come on home today.
Come on home.
I've got a nice business, but I'm no whiz at financial planning. Fortunately, my Connecticut General representative is. He sure comes through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
My successful business became more successful after Connecticut General helped me work out a cash flow strategy. CG sure came through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Call us. We'll come through for you, too.
Sink traps clogged with grease. Use Crystal Drano.
I'll pour in liquid plumber.
Don't. It may not work on that grease clog.
No?
Crystal Drano will. Look, liquid plumber's quiet. It's not melting that grease.
But Drano is. It broke through. Will Drano hurt metal pipes?
No.
So liquid plumber didn't break that grease clog. I'm switching to Drano.
To make clogs go, better use Drano.
Iranian President Bani Sadr today nominated a new prime minister. He is Iran's police chief, 33-year-old Mustafa Mir Salim. Mir Salim is said to have the support of the Islamic Republican Party, the hardline party of the clergymen which dominate Iran's parliament. If Mir Salim gets a vote of confidence from parliament, the last obstacle will have been cleared away for a parliamentary debate on the fate of the American hostages, now on their 266th day of captivity. The Associated Press reports that Russia is sending fresh troops and supplies into the Afghanistan capital city of Kabul. The AP says transport planes have been arriving every few minutes at the Kabul airport and unloading troops and supplies. The new units are replacing units which were reportedly sent south to fight the Afghan soldiers. People are starving in these 6 African nations, 8 million people. A drought has cut food supplies. Fighting in the area has kept other nations from sending in help. The worst region, the Karamoja region, northeast Uganda. 400,000 people are literally starving to death. Many of them are children. The first relief efforts have reached Karamoja, but even they have been hampered by poor security. The following report by Brian Barron of the BBC details the plight of these people. A word of caution. Barron is talking about starvation. The examples are graphic, understandably appalling, nonetheless real.
Under a shady fig tree at an abandoned community centre in a B mission, the first hard evidence of the Western world's help for Karamoja can be measured. One of the 9 emergency feeding centres for the 30,000 to 40,000 children directly at risk. It was opened this week by 2 Cambridge medical students sent for 3 months by the Save the Children Fund. Every day, another 20 or more children struggle into a beam mission, and such is the pressure that 20 of the stronger must leave to make room for them. But the worst affected area today is here in northern Karamoja at Kabong, where a handful of people are dying every day. 5 months into this famine, and there still isn't sufficient food on a regular basis to keep them alive. The task at Kabong is immense. There are 700 children in urgent need. So where do you begin in a ravaged land where this 12-year-old boy has shrunk to 26 pounds?
I think what we're going to concentrate on is making it really systematic, just concentrating on the kids who are really bad and giving them as extra food.
But that implies that you're going to have to be ruthless.
I think that's right, yeah. I think there have been cases of people giving way to their emotions, and the thing has become totally swamped. Kids who are hungry but not starving are out. Old people who, even if they're on the way out, are out. Anyone else, providing they can work for their food, gets it, otherwise not.
To wait till they get milk. The first of 2 extra milk rations for the sickest children. They have to be supervised because there have been so many cases of adults stealing their food. Listless, strangely silent, perhaps cowed by the hushed-up atrocity in which 2 of their number were beaten to death by farmers with hoes for stealing an ear of corn. Some are too far gone to tear open the packets of high-protein biscuits. One who won't make it, fading away without even a blanket. The Save the Children Fund have sent 4,000. Many more are needed. This is Brian Barron in Uganda.
Morning, Charlie.
Xerox helps businesses manage information. But we don't just provide equipment your company can live with. In many cases, we also provide a person who virtually lives with your company.
Got a message for you.
Oh, thank you. Tom.
He's called a National Account Manager. It's his job to know your company inside and out. That way, he can analyze your information needs and recommend solutions that are just right for you.
By the way, the Chicago office is really happy about that new system you put together. Yeah,
Mr. Duncan, it's engineering. I think they want you.
So while Xerox equipment helps you make the best possible use of information, Xerox people help you make the best possible use of the equipment.
Steve. Yes. Isn't that Duncan? Yes, he's really doing a great job for us.
Yeah. How much we paying him?
Nothing.
Nothing?
He works for Xerox.
Oh.
Mr. Wells, my skin's all irritated again.
Here's what you need. It's a really effective skin medication for eczema, rashes from dermatitis, and other minor skin irritations. New Lanacord, hydrocortisone from Lanacane Cream.
Hydrocortisone?
Yep, that hydrocortisone in Lanacord is a real skin medication discovery. And with Lanacord, you can get hydrocortisone without a prescription. Real value, too.
And it's from Lanacane. I like that.
New Lanacord hydrocortisone cream. It's effective medicine.
In Chicago today, at the 7-story Union Railway station, 1 person is dead, 20 injured, after heavy fire and smoke sent people running to the roof of the building. As Mike Jackson reports, there were some very dramatic rescue attempts.
This was the second fire at Union Station today. The first was a trash fire in a restaurant put out before noon. But then railroad office workers were again routed from their jobs at mid-afternoon when smoke and flames climbed up one entire side of the Block Square building. Several people were trapped on the roof. 5 were rescued by a fire department helicopter, and more than a dozen others climbed down on ladders. Among them was computer operator Tom Karras.
I don't know, smoke just started pouring in. Earlier there was a fire, they said it was striked, and it must have flared up again. All I know is the halls were impassable.
Fred Voss was stranded more than 2 hours in the smoke at the top of the building.
You think you're in danger the minute you know you can't get out, nobody can get up to you. I
mean, I was afraid. My kid called me from home, and I told him, well, play it by ear. That's it.
Only after the fire was out did firefighters find the body of one person on the 5th floor. Union Station is the terminal for all Chicago Amtrak service, and Amtrak officials are saying tonight that all trains will run on schedule despite the fire. But passengers will have to carry their own luggage and buy their tickets on the train. Mike Jackson, NBC News, Chicago.
In Chattanooga, Tennessee today, calm restored to the streets after 3 nights of racial unrest. The disturbances took place after 2 members of the Ku Klux Klan were acquitted of shooting 4 black women. Bob Jimenez has the story.
Last night, police officers stayed out of the neighborhood where for several nights, youths looted, set fires, and shot at police. Riot-equipped officers stood ready nearby while black volunteers kept the peace in their neighborhoods. News photographers were not allowed in, but today this minister, who participated in the civilian patrols, said they worked and would be continued.
Basically, most of the people seemed to have appreciated us being over there. There was no violence. In fact, we didn't even pick up anybody carrying any type of weapon or anything.
Outside the neighborhood, police made more than 80 arrests for violations of the 9:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew, and several small fires were set. But city officials say the worst seems to be over. They say the appearance late Friday of civil rights leader, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, had a calming effect. They also say the arrival of Assistant U.S. Attorney General Drew Days, who promises a Justice Department investigation of racial problems here, has eased tension. But city officials taking no chances are still forcing liquor store operators to close early. And there's a ban on the sale of firearms in the city. A nighttime curfew remains in effect, but it will begin 2 hours later tonight. The ban on gun sales won't change until authorities believe they have the situation here well under control. Bob Jimenez, NBC News, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
The city of Miami, Florida is straining to cope with the recent influx of Cuban refugees. Today, a wandering community of refugees was kicked out of the Orange Bowl Stadium. Ike Siemens has details from this point.
About 750 refugees have lived in Miami's Orange Bowl for more than a month. These are the ones with no family or friends in this country to sponsor them. Most are single men. Some, like 21-year-old Aristides Lafuentes, have no job skills. He says he's mentally ill. Doctors have classified him as schizophrenic and say he may be psychopathic. Today, the Cubans had to get out of the Orange Bowl for good. In just 3 weeks, the Miami Dolphins opened their preseason there. The city of Miami, using more than $1 million in federal funds, has relocated the refugees in a tent city under a downtown expressway. Businessmen in the area brought suit to stop the city from opening the tent city. They charged the refugees' presence would increase crime and hurt business. But not everyone in the neighborhood is against the refugees.
God is giving challenges to us to help the people, because the Lord help us, and I think the Lord give us this opportunity to help them.
Assistant City Manager Cesar Odio is in charge of the refugees.
I don't like to see a tent city. Nobody likes to see tent city. But considering the circumstances and knowing that we have no other place, I think this is a fine place.
This tent city could be home for some refugees for up to 6 months. But in an effort to get them out of here as soon as possible, on Monday, government and private placement agencies will set up offices here to try to find these refugees homes and jobs. Ike Siemens, NBC News, Miami.
The city of Patterson, California held a winter snow party yesterday. Patterson doesn't really get any winter snow, but the state of California mistakenly allocated more than $124,000 to Patterson for snow removal. Well, that's cause for a party. And so even though it was nearly 100 degrees, folks in Patterson donned parkas, pumped in foam snow, and sang Rudolph the Sunburned Water Skier. Sorry, Patterson. The state of California was not buying. The money has been rescinded. So for Patterson, no snow job, at least not this year.
Your pool's going to be ready sooner than expected, Miss Martin.
Terrific, Ken. Have some coffee.
Whoa.
Only half a cup? Don't you like my coffee?
I love the rich taste. It's the caffeine I can do without.
You happen to be drinking Brim decaffeinated coffee.
This is Brim?
This is Brim, and it's decaffeinated, so you don't have to stop at half a cup.
If it tastes this rich, I don't want to stop. Here, fill it to the rim.
With Brim?
Fill your cup to the rim with the rich taste of Brim.
They're not in here.
Honey!
Come on, let's go.
Hey, whoa, what's happened?
We lost all our traveler's checks.
Oh, that's too bad. What kind were they?
American Express.
American Express. Relax. Let's call them.
Great. You can call for help anytime from anywhere in the country with American Express traveler's checks. Ask for them by name.
Sir, the package will be on your desk tomorrow, and I say that with the utmost confidence. I will take care of it. How will I take care of it? I don't know how I'm going to take care of it if I know how.
When it comes to sending a package somewhere overnight, most forceful executives become as helpless as a 2-year-old.
You'll take care of it?
And as a secretary, you have to take care of them.
How will you take care of it? How do you
just call Federal Express.
Oh.
Federal Express, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight.
One of the anticipated events at the Moscow Olympics involved 2 Westerners who decided, along with their team, to defy their prime minister and go and compete in Moscow. They're from Britain, and they're said to be the 2 best middle-distance runners in the world. They competed today in the 800-meter run, and they will face each other later in the metric mile. Gene Pell reports from Moscow.
Steve Ovett in the gray sweatshirt and Sebastian Coe in the dark blue do not like each other. They have carefully avoided a direct confrontation for 2 years, and today's 800-meter final was billed as a grudge match by the world's press. Coe holds the world record at this distance, but today he ran what his coach, his father, later called a stupid race, waiting too late and too long to capture the goal. Ovett was boxed in the early going, but pushed his way clear after some jostling in the first lap. 2/3 of the way through, Coe was at the back of the pack and looked as though he might not even finish in the top 3. At the final turn, Ovett was widening his lead, while Coe labored desperately on the outside in a vain effort to catch his arch-rival. A final burst of speed sent him past Russia's Nikolai Kirov into second place, but the gold medal was already in Steve Ovett's pocket. The race was something of an anticlimax. The time, a disappointing 1 minute 45.4 seconds, 3 seconds slower than the world record. But it was probably the sweetest victory ever for Steve Ovett, the man dubbed Mr. Arrogance by the British press. The Ovett-Coe duel is not over yet. They're expected to meet again next week in the finals of the 1500. Gene Pell, NBC News, Moscow.
That is our report tonight. Jane Pauley will be here tomorrow. I'm Jessica Savage from New York. Thank you. And good night from all of us at NBC News.
Saturday, BJ's caught in a biker's war, and Sanford's in love.
I haven't been attracted to a man in a long time.
Me either. And there's trouble in Joe's world over Steve's heavy drinking. Then the good times are over for Harry.
I did not get dumped. You got dumped, Harry. This is my area.
A great night, Saturday.
Voter registration for the D.C. primary on September 9th closes August 11th. Call the D.C. League of Women Voters at 785-2619.
Another hectic weekday with deadlines I must meet. Without a wholesome breakfast, I couldn't stay on my feet.
On your way to the office, stop at your International House of Pancakes restaurant for our special quick 2-egg breakfast with bacon, hash browns, and toast. What a value.
What a breakfast, what a breakfast. International House of Pancakes, what a breakfast, what a breakfast. Your House of Pancakes makes.
One of the most exciting periods in the history of painting was post-impressionism, a simultaneous